I like this
and
music we got in the
that's on
background.
the floor. So here...
Do you think we recommend that we listen to this kind of royalty-free penis music in the background when you search through your kids' belongings because you don't trust them, but you can't also converse with them like a normal human being? Fit check. Look at how cute it is. All right. So, from OC Sherriff, I assume that stands for original content. So this might be somebody's like OC, like it's a drawing or character that they do all the time. Probably exaggerated in some ways. You know, California is where they're from, so they're on the West Coast, which is the best coast. I lived on the East Coast for, 24 long years of my life. I can tell you that East Coast, least coast, easily. It's garbage, trash heap. Why even live in the 13 original colonies? Like, there's new stuff out here. It's a whole new world. Anyway, I'm on the West Coast now. Let's go. Washington, gang. Seattle, not California. Anyway, do you know how to properly search your child's room? Now, you might be asking yourself, isn't this a breach of privacy? Well, no, because they're your children. And if they're under the age of 18, you essentially own them as property. So apparently, according to this, you could just do whatever you want in regards to, searching their room or whatever, and it's whatever. Now, I don't seem to agree with that. I do think that parents should be aware, as the hashtag here suggests, about what's going on with their kids. Are they using illegal substances? Because that can be bad. If you're a child and you're on cannabis even, which is a fairly low impact drug, your developing mind can still be negatively affected for frequently partaking in drugs like that, or even caffeine, but that's more normalized. Regardless, there is a certain amount of discretion you should use when it comes to what your kids are up to. If they're engaging in potentially risky behavior, if they're of age, teach them about practicing safe sex. If they are aware of what drugs are, teach them what is bad, what's good, potentially, like not good necessarily, but not terrible for you, how to be careful about what you're putting in your body when it comes to drugs and stuff like that. Talk to your kids like they're actual normal human beings rather than interfacing with them like you're a cop, as we're about to see. So let's find out. Support and guide preteens and teenagers. You need to monitor what's happening in their lives. Let's figure it out. Let's see what Thumb is about to talk to us about this right now. Hello?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Paranoia, where we provide...
Why the hell is there a cop in my bedroom right now? Get the hell out. Listen, if my parent was a police officer, I would ask them kindly to not enter my room in their uniform ever. That is way too much sauce for my tiny little brain. Every cop looks the same, so it's like, is this my dad? Or is this another... Am I in... What's going on here? Like, I can't be doing that. Even like at the totally sober, I'm doing nothing wrong. I'm already tensed up like a rubber band. No thank you.
Parents with information they can use to keep their kids safe. I'm Sergeant Brian Gunsley with the Orange County Sheriff's Department.
Bro, how is your name Gunsley? And you're a cop. Bro, I don't trust this man for a second. Gunsley? And he's a police officer? At least it's not a social worker? Yeah, that would be truly terrifying.
And today I'm going to show you how to search your child's room.
Do you got a warrant, Dad? You got a warrant? Go back to the court, okay? Go back to the municipal office or whatever it is. Get your goddamn warrant, all right?
The first step is to remove the child or the teenager.
Remove the child. Just take him out. Just grab him. Tase him. Bop him over the head with your baton or whatever. Toss him out the window.
From the room. You don't want them in the room because...
That's an adult, you think so? Does this really look like an adult to you? This looks like a 12-year-old child. They really tried hard on this one. My 36-year-old child. Listen, there's nothing wrong with living in your parents' house in this economy until you're older, all right? Listen, I moved out when I was like 21, okay? Everybody, leaves at different times, all right? It's a cultural thing. Listen, my dad's family, he's Latino. He comes from Honduras, all right? They stay with their parents for much longer than people in the United States, okay? It's a standard thing. It's only weird outside of the States, really.
In this case, from the room. You don't want them in the room because their protests may distract you from doing a thorough search.
Sure.
Hey, pal, gonna need you to leave the room.
Yeah, get out of here, idiot.
Thanks, we'll talk later.
Look at that 5 o'clock shadow my 12-year-old kid has.
important to search your child's room every once in a while, like I would say about every 6 months, unless you suspect...
Every 6 months? No, to be fair, 6 months is surprisingly lenient coming from this guy. Like, we can already visually ascertain what's going on here. We can do an optical pat-down right now. This man has the skull of a police officer. Anybody who knows, knows. Like, this man is a thumb, so obviously he's gonna be a cop. I mean, this is just how these things happen to work. But 6 months is actually not that bad. Like every half year, I think once a year, you know, you might want to like check in with your kid and see if there's anything crazy in their room. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's not out of pocket to search your child's room if you suspect them of doing some stuff that might not be safe for them. Like I said, there are a lot of drugs out there, like cannabis even, which can be bad and detrimental to the developing mind of a younger kid. Like if you're smoking weed all the time and your brain hasn't fully developed yet, that can lead to negative consequences down the line. And especially for even worse drugs than that. So this is something you do want to be aware of as a parent. But like I say, talk to your kids. Tell them that they're not going to get thrown in jail if they happen to be smoking weed every once in a while. And try to like tell them about the negative consequences and try to have them be as safe as possible with it. And maybe restrict it from them if you think it's actually a major issue, you know? Now, of course, high school kids are going to do this kind of stuff. It's high school kind of stuff to do. You mess around with your friends or whatever. You steal your parents' wine and you get a little drunk and have fun. It's going to happen. Kids will be kids. But as long as you're not drinking all the time, I'm sure like 1 or 2 days out of a year where you have like a drink or two at a house party or something, it's not going to kill your kid.
Often. The way I would search this room is to split it into sections. So this would be my first section to do. And then another section would be maybe this area right here, and then the closet, and then this bed.
I like this music we got in the background.
On the floor. So what I recommend is to start searching from top to bottom, and then left to right. So here...
Do you think we recommend that we listen to this kind of royalty-free penis music in the background when you search through your kids' belongings because you don't trust them, but you can't also converse with them like a normal human being?
I would start just searching in this plant, and then go...
You can already tell this is not an actual child's room because no child has a plant in their room. That's a fake plant, first of all. Second of all, that's not happening. There's no shot this kid has a plant.
Across to the right, and then we'll search into whatever containers that are here. Always want to look inside the containers and inspect things thoroughly. See, here we have a container with, looks like a place for someone to hide something. So I'm going to hang on to that. Certainly want to talk about that in a little bit. And then just kind of look through everything. When it comes to books, you just want to search through all the pages and just see if you see anything. Here we have
Make sure there's no cutouts, you know, with like a prison nail file so that they can't carve their way out of your home, which is essentially Fort Knox under your watch. Good Lord.
So here we have something. This looks like a scale of some sort.
Ah!
So that could be used by someone
sick.
Who's maybe purchasing drugs or selling drugs.
It's kind of wicked.
So that's something.
Wait, what was the game?
Drugs.
What? I can't tell.
So that's...
No games come in a case like that anymore. That's like PS1 level video game case. That being said, there's no reason to believe that your kid might not have one of those if you have a PS1 in the house. But that's actually kind of cool. I kind of want that for myself.
Something that's disguised. We'll hang on to that. Now, here's something that looks like...
Oh yeah, if you're drinking Monster Energy, like it's a wrap. Like that's permanent brain worms. If you're drinking Monster Energy at an early age, like if you're gonna drink a lot of caffeine, why are you adding all these extra sugar and all this garbage in a drink that doesn't even taste good? Just drink coffee like a normal person. It's still gonna stunt your growth or whatever the meme is, but it's better than Monster. Good Lord. That's an easy giveaway, dead giveaway.
Container of some sort. Let me see what's inside. We have hidden in here. We have some, looks like marijuana.
Yeah, Monster and weed go together, it seems
so
like.
I am going to hang on to this. We're going to have a little talk about that.
Now, my question is like, so we're in this video talking about how to search your parents' room. Is there another video that illustrates how you talk to your kid about this kind of thing? Because that would be really interesting. Like so this is how we advise you to talk to your children should you find whatever it is, XYZ, weed, poop, sock, whatever. That's what I'm curious about.
This is a concern because some teens use this to get high.
Oh,
they
Lord.
can use this as a huffing device. So
that's a terrible plan, by the way. You could die pretty quick doing this kind of shit. Just stick to weed, kids. What the hell is that? Who is huffing pressurized air? Good Lord.
If you have dust off or any type of computer duster in the room, We want to remove that because that could be used as something dangerous, and
it shouldn't be in the room anyway, to be fair. That one is true. Like, just keep that under the sink or something. Like, just get it when you need it. You don't need it all the time. You clean out your electronics like once a year, probably.
Could be deadly.
If ever. The rat's nest that is your PC.
And also, it's very important to...
Why is his son's entire room covered with drug paraphernalia? Because he's the son of a fucking cop. What do you mean? I imagine if you're not like fully indoctrinated as a kid and like a hoorah JROTC, I want to be a cop like my dad when I grow up, you're probably going to be pretty rebellious, because I imagine most cop parents are probably going to be relatively strict and annoying. Because not only is the job of a police officer ostensibly very hard and stressful, it's possible that you take that stress with you home, and you know, your home life might not be very good. This can happen even for jobs that aren't being a police officer. But regardless, I would imagine a lot of kids and cops are pretty rebellious. Kids just like to not do what they're told and do the opposite of what they're told. So if you have a very strong authority figure in your house, like a literal police officer, I imagine this happens.
be respectful.
That being said, it's a dramatization to show you how to do these things. So it's just littered everywhere.
Of the child's property.
It's important to be respectful of the child's property while I'm pilfering his wares like I'm in Skyrim leveling my lock picking and stealth.
When you're doing this, because you know, it's just the appropriate thing to do. Here we have a vaping device. We're gonna...
That's true. If they have a Juul, you need to get them off that shit real quick. I am very strictly and vociferously anti-Juul. The problem with nicotine vaporizers, which Juuls are, I think there's only nicotine in the cartridges. I don't think there's any non-nicotine carts. It's that nicotine is incredibly physically addictive, and it's easier to chain vape than it is to chain smoke. When you're vaporizing something, you're just taking in, you know, the vapor of the liquid or whatever it is that it is. It's very easy to do that continuously. Now, that is usually pretty high heat, which can be, you know, potentially hard to do for your lungs, depending. But, like, it's super easy. Whereas if you're smoking cigarettes, you have to literally combust material. There's a bunch of extra chemicals that, when combusted, are even worse. It's harder to hide as well because it's stinkier, right? Vapes are more discreet. So it's much easier to ingest way too much nicotine if you're vaporizing it rather than smoking it. So Juul's really bad. Really bad. I highly, highly recommend nobody ever do this shit. I've actually known several, like, young kids, like 17, 18, 19, who are literally addicted to their Juul. Like, they have to go into the walk-in freezer or whatever to hit the Juul, or else they feel like shit. It's not good. You do not want to get on a nicotine addiction. Nicotine is such a bad drug.
Here we have some more clothing. Looks like everything.
Also, nicotine high is boring as hell. What the hell what do you even want nicotine for? This shit feels like ass.
Okay, there. Oh, I have a pipe.
Uh-oh.
Hidden inside some socks.
That is so extra. What the hell? Imagine having to hide it in socks. You got some stinky socks then.
We'll go through here. Nothing in that drawer. And then, if you notice anything that's unusual in the room, like this is toilet paper, that's kind of unusual.
It's probably whacking off. Chill.
Nothing. I don't see anything with that. Ajax. I don't know why this would be in his room.
True.
So I would inspect that a little better.
This kid's going
here I have
crazy.
A couple of little baggies. It looks like they may have had some drugs in them or something at some point.
Those are just for extra buttons on my shirt. Chill, man. You know, I'm a seamstress, all right? Sometimes the buttons fall off. You got to keep them in a little baggie so you don't lose them. Come on.
So that's another indicator. So this looks like it might be something. I'm familiar with this as a
What is that?
Container. So this is something that people can buy online.
Really?
These hidden compartments.
That's kind of
So
sick.
as you can see, it has liquid above and below, but the container, it's a false container in the middle that people can hide things in there.
It's kind of cool.
That.
I kind of want that.
Journals are good to go through. As a parent, they're...
Am I wrong, or does it feel like this video is kind of like illustrating to any kids watching like really, really good ways to hide your shit? Doesn't it? It kind of seems that way. Like, we're just kind of teaching kids a bunch of different tips and tricks and tools of the trade in order to get away with hiding shit from your parents. I don't know. Like, I don't know how many parents are watching this video compared to kids watching it. This is a re-upload, but
You have every right to search your child's room. There is no legal problem with that. So
Nice.
be sure to take advantage of that and search your child's room while they're under the age
you just
of
got to make sure there's no legality issues, you know?
18. Here, we just want to take a look through the journal and just see if there's anything suspicious.
How do you read through a kid's journal? That's such a breach of privacy. I can understand looking for these crazy containers where they might hide drug paraphernalia, you know? But, like, it's a journal. They're writing things. These are private thoughts. Usually, ostensibly, nobody else is supposed to read them. That's kind of the point. That's a little messed up, I think.
And here's a page where
Is
it looks like
nothing
they're
sacred?
drawing pictures of marijuana references on here. And then usually just go through the bed. You can remove the sheets and all the bedding. And just
No kid's bed is this clean, by the way. Like, this has to be a motel.
take a look at the mattress. Make sure the mattress doesn't have any openings in it where someone could put or hide something in here. Oh, here's some more pill bottles. And that may match up with the pills that we found here. So that's good to have. We'll need to find out more about that. And then you want to search underneath. And we have...
I drew dicks in high school, so I must be gay. It's more likely than you think.
Budweiser found underneath here. Okay.
Feels like treating your child like this is more likely for them to do shit for spite? Yeah, maybe. I mean, having a cop parent in general was probably pretty bad for that.
So the last area that you want to search is now everything that's on the floor. So we have here some clothing that's on the ground, and we'll just go through some clothing. Of course, the pockets always is where you're going to find stuff. So these are indicators that, they may be using drugs.
Well, this kid is on one. Good lord.
And then, of course, the backpack. Let's see. And this is a highlighter, which appears to be a highlighter, but this is something that can be purchased online. And what it is a pipe. And it just hides within the highlighter.
That's pretty cool.
So when you're searching, you want to definitely go through everything very carefully and inspect things closely. Just
A
in case,
highlighter?
your child has something like this hidden in
Good
there.
one.
You're going to want to find it. It's very important to conduct a safety search like this because you want to know.
This kid is a
whether or not
felon.
they're
What
using
is going
drugs.
on?
Best way to prevent adult addiction is to intervene early when they're young. So
I
this
do
is the
appreciate
time
the
to
fact that
prevent-
they're trying to like dress this up as like we just care about people potentially getting addicted to substances when they're older. And that is true. Like, it is possible that you develop an addiction when you're young and you carry that into your adult years, and it can become a lot harder to get off of it. That is true. That can happen. But I guess the video is simply for searching the room and not necessarily anything else. But I'd be interested to see like what prescriptions they give for like how to talk to your kid should you find whatever X material. That's what's interesting to me. Or like things to look out for that might indicate that your kid might have some crazy shit that you might want to search the room for anyway. Like, I don't know if you're doing regular searches of a kid's room, unless like you suspect them of doing some sussy stuff. Like maybe they play Fortnite. That's a dead giveaway. That they're probably drinking Monster Energy, which is a dead giveaway. They're probably smoking weed, which is a dead giveaway. Yeah, I'm just kidding. Anyway. I don't know, dude. It seems like talking to your kid, like they're an actual human, is the prescription. And like letting them understand that you're not going to threaten to throw them in jail if they happen to have smoked weed once or twice. Like this kind of puritanical thinking of like, oh, if my kid is smoking weed like every once in a while, that's devastating and I need to send them to like a camp to get off of it or whatever. This kind of like war on drugs mentality. If you notice that your kid is smoking weed, you could just talk to him about it and be like, oh, this does seem to be a thing that kids will do. I want to talk to you about how to be safe with it. You shouldn't do it all the time because it's not good for your tiny little brain that's still developing. I'm not going to call the cops on you or anything, but, be a little bit more careful and I better not see that shit in my house. Things like that. There are ways to go about it, and I'm not a parent. So, I'm speaking from experience of having been a kid that had parents, There seemed to be ways. Like, I was straight edge when I was a kid, and, like, my dad didn't really like the idea of, like, drugs, and my mom was a little bit more chill, but she didn't like it either. Like, she just told me, like, not in my house, first and foremost, and then also talked to me about how these things can be dangerous, what, you should avoid. Like, don't do cocaine and heroin, kids. Cannabis is certainly better than those things. There's just ways to do this that I feel like This video doesn't really illustrate, and I guess this is just good content to make fun of, because making fun of cops is always fun and valid. But anyway, let's find something healthier you can do instead. Yeah, be involved in your kid's life in a positive way, not like an authoritarian dictator, you know? Also, like, the idea, like, oh, we care about potential addictive, things happening in the future with your kids. It's like, I would hope to God you support ending the war on drugs, treating addiction like a mental health problem rather than, like, criminalizing it. Things like that. But, I mean, we're still throwing people in jail for having a dime bag of weed, so, depending on where you live anyway. I have cousins in a rural area, and their parents let them party at the house. They won't go out into the bush to get messed up. They drink and get high in front of their parents, and a few times a year they organize treks to party in the woods. That's interesting. One way to do it. I mean, kids are going to do these things, so you'd rather them do it, like, around you or with you, right? And in a way that you can monitor them and try to, like, teach them, the proper way to not ruin their lives. Anyway, it's a funny video, Still curious as to what the prescriptions are for what to say to your kid after you find them, but...
A lifelong struggle with addiction. Thanks for watching Parent Aware.
No problem. This video's conure callout is Natasha the Space Witch. Thank you for the support. That's a very cool name, and I hope you keep enjoying the videos. If you'd like to be the next conure callout, all you gotta do is follow me on Twitter, @ConureCC. Retweet my video links when they go live. Very simple process. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Put all notifications on when you hit the bell. Leave a like if you like. Comment something spicy down below. Have a good day. All that. Good enough.